Okay, so today with math, we are going to do a quick review over using the tens and the ones, and I'm going to use our the money here to represent us dividing a number up into so many groups, the divisor, and then we're going to transform that into another approach. So going into what we call the area model. It's not unknown to you. We did it with multiplication. It just looks a little different with division, okay? So I'm going to start my problem by doing 87 divided by 6, and I'm going to use my tens and my ones, okay? All right, so first and foremost, I notice that I have 80 in my tens place, so I need 8 tens. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. And I need 7 ones for the 7 in my ones place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with my tens. I am going to divide my tens into my 6 groups that are represented here as my divisor. Okay, so I'm just going to move my ones off to the side, and I'm going to divide my tens into 6 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and just make 6 groups here to represent my 6 groups. Okay, and I'm going to place my tens inside those 6 groups until I don't have enough tens to place equally. Okay, so 1, 2, there we go. Okay, so I was able to place 1 10 in each group, and I noticed that I have 2 tens left over, so I don't have enough tens to continue placing tens. So I need to regroup, and I need to take both of these tens and turn them into 10 ones for this one, 10 ones for this one, which would be 20 ones altogether. And then I need to add those 20 ones to my 7. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm adding them to the 7 I had up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I added 20 ones to the 7 that I had placed to the side. So wow, look how many ones that I have now. I actually have 27 ones. So now I'm going to go ahead and place them into my 6 groups until I no longer have enough ones left that can equally go into each of my 6 groups, or until I run out of ones, because sometimes you run out and it works out perfectly.
Teachers and staff, if you're going to be a part of the last day Christmas skit and you're not in a meeting, please come down to the stage right now. If you're not able to make it, it's just a walkthrough. Your partners in crime will fill you in.
Okay.
And we'll meet one time next week too.
So we have 3 ones that I cannot place equally. So they are my remaining. Okay, they're my remainder. So now I look and see how many I have in each group. And I notice that I have 4 ones and a 10. That equals 14. So my quotient would be 14, remainder 3. Okay, so how can we transform this into the area model? Okay, so I'm going to use the same exact problem that I just did on the table. And now you need to have your sheet with our division with area models. Okay, and I'm zooming it in so that you can see each piece by piece. Okay, so you're going to do this with me as you watch this video. Okay, so the directions say to solve the following division problems using the area model. As you can see, it looks very similar to our multiplication. We've got a big box. Okay, So our first step is to write the divisor on the left side of the box. The divisor is how many groups I am creating, which is 6. Okay, so that goes on the left side of the box. Step 2, if you have a 2-digit number, which is what we've got, 2 digits, divide your box into 2 sections. Okay, so I would divide my box into 2 sections like so. One for the tens place and one for the ones place. Okay? All right, step 3. Find how many tens you can multiply by 6 to get the number closest to but less than 87. Okay? Since 20 times 6 is too large, we should use 10 times 6, which is 60, right? The 10 on top of the box. Okay, so what it is we know that 87 is what we are dividing up, okay? So we're going to think in our head, well, if I have 87 and if I multiply 6 times a multiple of 10, which would be 10 or 20 or 30, what would I get? Well, 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 20 would be 120. Well, what do you notice? 60 is less than 87. That's a good thing. 120 is bigger. So that means that I could only multiply by 10. The first number multiple of 10 is 10. I can only multiply by that 10 to get as close to 87 as I possibly can. Okay? So 10 times 6 would be 60. Okay? Remember, as we're looking through this, remember how we did place 1 10 into each group? That equaled out to be 60. That's what we did figure out, okay? We figured that out. And look here, when we do 87 minus 60, we get 27 left over. That's how many ones we had to divide out after I regrouped my tens, okay? So that's pretty cool that it equals out to be the same thing that we just did with the money, okay? All right, so let's continue on. Step 4 says to subtract the product of 10 times 6, which is 60, from the dividend, which was 87, our total starting number. And we did that, okay, and we got 27. We can write it again here. We got 27. And then step 5 says to move the difference to the next box. Move it to the next box. Okay, so this is how many ones we had, wasn't it? This is how many tens we were able to place equally. This is how many tens we could place, and this is how many ones we started to place into the groups. Okay, step 6, find how many ones you can multiply by 6 to get the number closest to but less than 27. Okay, how many ones can we multiply? Okay, so that means we're doing like 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, and we keep on going. Well, when I do those multiplication problems, which end up being multiples of 6, which one is going to be the closest to 27? Okay, well, I noticed that 6 times 5 is way too large because it's 30. It's too big. Okay, and that's what it says on here. Since 5 times 6 is too large, we should use 4 times 6. Okay? Okay, so we're going to put a 4 at the top. Okay? And as that, we write that 4 on the top of the second box. Then it says to subtract the product of 4 times 6, which is 24. Okay? The difference is the remainder. So 27 minus 24 is 3. And ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly how many ones we had left that we could not place. So what we do is we add those top numbers, the 10 and the 4, and that's what we had represented in the groups. We had 1 10, we had 4 ones, okay? And we got 14 in each group. And then we put 14 there, and the remainder of what's left over goes there. So look here, we ended up getting the same exact quotient when we divided out using tens and ones as we did with the area model. And it's really the same type of thinking, but just in a different way. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Good job doing your notes with me today. You're going to glue this or staple it into your math spiral notebook. You can trim the outside out, okay? Trim it down. And now you're going to do some practicing with our area model, okay? Feel free to also have the money to the side. Feel free to also have some of those like little cards. Feel free to use your toolkit to help you with this, okay? You should be doing this, but you can also use your tools to help you with it, okay?